Flint's Club 937, Artimis here with legendary group Atmosphere. Slug from Atmosphere on the phone right now. What's going on, man?
What's good? What's good? You called us legendary. That's wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Legendary. I don't even know how to spell that word.
Hey, you're legendary to me. I don't want to fanboy out or act all crazy, but your music has helped me so much throughout my life, and I think that you guys don't get the credit you deserved. I mean, even the amount of touring that you guys do alone is crazy. But a lot of the messages behind your songs, you got to really think with your lyrics.
Listen, man, I get the credit score I deserve. So, hey, as long as that's in place, we're good. We're good.
Well, hey, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. I want to get right into it with Fishing Blues, the new album from you guys. Definitely different compared to your catalog. Am I correct in saying that?
It's not fair for me to have an opinion on that. You know what I'm saying? I stand a little too close to our music for me to really have a good opinion on what our music is. So to me, I don't know. The record, this album sounds like my life, and the last album sounded like my life at that point in my life, and the one before that, and so on and so forth. So to me, they all kind of fit my world. So I can't tell though if it's. I guess what would be fair to say, what's factual, is that this album has more guest appearances than we normally have on any of our records,
That is true. I listen to Southsiders and I listen to classics like God Loves Ugly and Seven's Travels and everything, and this one just sounds so different to me, not only because of the guest features, which it's not like your typical hip-hop albums where every single song has a guest feature. I mean, you went through and picked out the people that you wanted on the songs for this new album, correct?
That's correct, and we actually only let one of them spit a verse. Everybody else kind of did other stuff for us. You know what I'm saying? Either choruses or sub-hooks or, one of them just kind of like did some dialogue. I'm kind of a control freak, man. I have a really hard time letting anybody else grab the steering wheel.
I mean, when you listen to Chasing New York with A$AP Rock, usually, that man is known as a lyricist, and he actually did the chorus for that. Was that kind of planned out with how you said you're so controlling and with the process of the album?
Yeah, with that that song in particular, I sent it to him. I was like, hey, the song is pretty much done, but it needs your voice on it. I was like, listen to the song. I'm not going to tell you what the song's about. I'm not going to interpret it for you, but listen to it and then tell me what you would do to it. And then he sent it back with what he did there, where he, I don't really know what to call it, but we called it a sub-chorus because it was like, it was like a chorus after the chorus kind of a thing. But he basically closed the song down for me. You know what I mean? And I think what he did was perfect. It's exactly what the song was asking for.
Now, when you listen to this album, I've listened to it a dozen times now. And what I've noticed that is kind of, a unique perspective with your writing is you go through a lot of personal stuff. But then, you have songs like Seismic Waves and Pure Evil that kind of gets political, which is something new for you guys. And not so much political, but just what's going on in the world with police brutality through your eyes. Would I be correct in saying that?
I think so. I think the difference is in the past, I've always been so afraid of being preachy that I've had to kind of hide the politics inside of the story. So we've always had politics. We've always pushed our agenda or reinforced our moral code or even spoken on, current affairs, but we've always been kind of careful to not, beat on it too hard because, for starters, obviously, if you're listening to an Atmosphere record, you're probably already down with us, and I just don't want to be preaching to the choir. But I also don't want to be preachy, and so I'm always kind of real careful about how I write those types of songs, and then with Pure Evil, the way around it was to, write it from a first-person narrative, from the eyes of the cop. A song like Seismic Waves, it's an interesting one because people take that as a song that's speaking on politics, but really that song is about people who use current current affairs and movements and politics to create their identities, to make them seem like they know what's up, that they can hold a conversation or a dialogue in a bar so that they can go get laid. And that song is kind of about, like, the character is a person who's in the bar talking about all this stuff that's going on in the world, all the hashtags and all the this, that, and the third, so that he can create identity for himself that looks like he's, like he's in the know. You know what I'm saying? But really, by the end of the song, when he's like, look, I'm leaving with her, I'm sleeping with her, it's kind of it's a take on this identity that I see often, especially in social media, of these people who kind of push these agendas, but really deep down you can kind of see sometimes that they're really pushing the agenda of self. You know what I mean?
I noticed that a lot. We're a rhythmic station here in Flint, and the Flint water crisis has been going on for almost, well over 2 years now. And the one thing that I've noticed is that artists have sort of gravitated towards using the water crisis to make a profit off of it almost. They write songs saying how bad the crisis is, or, they say, we don't have clean water. Yet before, all the other issues with Flint, it was like it wasn't even talked about. But now that the media,
right.
And do you see that a lot in the hip hop world? I mean, you see, artists all the time talk about, police brutality or, Black Lives Matter. Or do you see that as people trying to make almost a profit off of a political agenda?
It's an interesting thing because you don't know where to draw the line because, yes, of course, people are going to use these agendas to empower themselves. But in the same breath, it's kind of like, well, do you want to chastise them for that? Because they are still spreading awareness. And so there's a gray space there with what it is. So I think what you got to do is you just got to kind of take everything is singular. You got to look at every story with as an individual story and just kind of get your own read on it. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, some of these artists, they are out here pumping for these causes, and they're likely, some of them are making money off it, but in the same breath, if they weren't pumping for the cause, how would it lessen the amount of people who would learn of the cause? And so, but it's the same thing with activism. You know what I'm saying? Like, many activists make money being activists. And so you ask yourself, well, should activism be a labor of love? Should it be for free? Because those activists, if they had to do it for free, would they be able to feed their families, or would they have to go get real jobs, which would give them less time to spend in activism? You know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of like, it's a quagmire. You're in the middle of that. My thing isn't so much, I'm not really looking at, especially with hip hop, being a voice of the oppressed, it makes money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always kind of been a yin and a yang with hip hop, and so I'm used to it. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, for that matter, people might look at me and be like, oh, well, he's making money off hip hop, even though he's speaking from a standpoint of this or that, or having an agenda. You know what I mean? But me, I'm more so looking at, like, the people who obtain identities through this, but aren't really in it, aren't really down for what they got to say. I'm not the kind of rapper that points the finger at other rappers and says, yo, he's not down, because truth be told, I believe in all of us. I believe in the whole culture. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not that dude that's ever going to point out another rapper and be like, yo, he's full of BS. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't see it like that. I see the bigger movement there. So even if, MC whatever rapper guy is got a song that's pushing an agenda, and maybe it's a hit record now and it's selling a ton of records, I'm never going to be like, yo, what's up with that? Because I know at the end of the day, all of us came from nothing. You know what I'm saying? We all built something out of nothing here. So I'm not mad at somebody in that regard. I'm more so saying, like, if I was to just get real basic with it, I would be like, on Twitter, guys give you performative feminism so that they can get laid. Yeah. That's funny style. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of thing I'm more so talking about. One of my favorite tracks, if not my favorite track on it, is Next to You. And I remember when I first heard about you guys, I was listening to a song, and at the end you're like, and then we hit a pickup truck and we both died. And it was just like such an M. Night Shyamalan twist almost. You're like, yo, this song was about this dude picking up this girl in the bar. Everything was going good. They run a red light, they hit a pickup truck, and they both die. And then I hear Next to You. And that's why this album, I don't want people listening to this to think that, like, you guys have turned, like, into a political rap group, because that's not it at all. Because you have songs like Next to You, to where you're talking about, using Vaseline to masturbate next to your pregnant girl.
And it's just so like you start the song off and it's like, okay, you know, you're getting drunk and everything and you're getting a ride home, but then it twists so much. When you write these lyrics down, where do these thoughts come from? I mean, obviously, you know, your personal battles and what you dealt with life, but do you write certain songs and then you're like, yo, I'm going to put this twist in it and it's going to fuck with people's minds?
I don't really see the twist. And even with that quote unquote twist is not as important to me as like what's actually being communicated. And in a song like that, you know, that song is even though it's kind of written to be kind of humorous, the narrative is kind of funny. Really, the song deep down is about a handful of things, but you know, it's about the type of, I guess, entitlements that we feel like we have when we're married, and it's about breaking those entitlements and going, look, it's not okay for me to wake my wife up just because I'm drunk and horny. She's got, you know, she's got her own priorities, so I'm not going to wake her up. But also, I mean, the end of the song, not to give it away or nothing, but I'm too drunk to even masturbate. So really what it comes down to, the song itself is about, you know, that line between wants and needs. You know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of like, look, I might want these things, but really what I need to do is just go to bed.
Right. Now with this album here, you have a huge list of cities that you're going through to tour. Do you still get certain places to where you show up and you're like, man, I thought that there would be more people here? Because it seems to me like you guys' festival game is on point. I mean, whenever I watch videos of you guys live at a festival, it's banging and everything. But do you still be an artist that's been in the game for decades? Do you still get to certain spots and you're like, man, why is this dead? Like, is it frustrating for you?
Nah, man, I have no more expectations, man. I've learned to leave all that to the side. I show up to rap, whether there's anybody there or there's not. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, and I feel like life is easier when you let go of some of those expectations, especially the ones that are based in ego. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of like, so for me, I'm just excited that they'll let me in to the city to rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I get to go to Grand Rapids. That's exciting to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many of my contemporaries would love to be able to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I come from Minneapolis. How many rappers here in my city would love to go to Grand Rapids and do a show? You know, and so to me, I'm just really focused on how fortunate me and Anthony are. Here we are 20 years in, and these kids still let us come rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Come on, B. I'm turning 44 in a couple of days. Why are they letting me still come rap at their face? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know, but whatever. I ain't complaining. I'm lucky to be here. You know.
And it's crazy that, you know, like you look at Brother Ali too, like his fan base, and you're bringing him on tour. I mean, you built this Rhyme Sayers, you know, label up, and you've got people like, you know, like Reeves on it. You got Blueprint still on it. You know, is it crazy to look back at all these years and be like, man, you built your own empire with this?
I mean, an empire. I mean, you're being very, you know, generous when you call it an empire. I come from working class genes. You know what I'm saying? Like, my father he worked for General Motors. You know what I'm saying? My mother worked for Honeywell. My mother's father came over from Norway. My father's father, you know, he built cars. You know what I'm saying? My father's father's father was a slave. You know what I'm saying? Like, we come from. I'm supposed to be working, so here I am, and I'm working, and that's how I see it. Like, I don't think we built the empire. I think we built a factory, and I work at the factory alongside my brothers who also work at the factory. You know what I'm saying? And we work. We put a lot of time and effort into crafting what we are making and what we're trying to put out there. So to me, I'm just happy that I don't have some like old white guy telling me what to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's like I'm lucky to have the job I have, and that's how I see it. Like, if I wasn't a rapper, I'd still be working, and I still hopefully would be doing something that I was proud of. But here I am again, you know, relying on the word fortunate. Here I am fortunate to be in the situation I'm in.
Now, when you put songs together and you and Ant are sitting down, do you plan the breakdowns or, you know, the choruses or the verses, or is that something that comes together naturally?
You know what Ant does is he shows me the music, and then I figure out what to do to the music. And so in a scenario like that, it's just like, you know, the music broke down there. And so he's looking at me like, so what you going to do, homeboy? You know, and I'm like, well, what if I try this? And he goes, nah, don't do that. And I'm like, okay, well, what if I try this? Yeah, do that. You know, it's all trial and error. And ultimately, it's mostly just fun. Like, we're just having fun and experimenting with ideas and concepts. And then when something sticks or when something sounds good to both of you, you feel it. You get excited. You laugh. You know what I'm saying? And that's when you know, okay, we're going to put that in there. You know what I mean? But I would say 90% of what we do is not planned out. It's just the vibe, carrying it. You know, when I sit down to write a song, many times I don't have an idea for a song. I hear the beat, I put it on repeat, I play it, I loop it, I listen to it, and I try to figure out what kind of story that beat is saying. And then I try to write that story.
Do you, you know, I was going through your Twitter earlier and your Facebook and everything. Do you get discouraged? I mean, I know you probably don't because you probably don't have enough time to sit down and read all the comments. But when you see people that comment or tweet or something, and you think about the days when there was no Twitter and you could put an album out, and if somebody had a problem with it, they could come and talk to you. Now you have keyboard warriors that hide behind, you know, false pictures and everything like that. Does that bother you when you see certain comments and you realize how much hard work you put into an album, and then, you know, Anonymous 123 wants to comment and tell you how shitty it is? Like, does that bother you, or are you past that?
Nah, man, it doesn't bother me. It's just, you just gotta, you know, the ocean is big, man, and but the waves keep coming, and you just gotta find a way to move with it. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, it'll consume you, and I can't allow that to happen to me. I got too much work to do. You know what I'm saying? But I you know, I read some of the comments. I try to stay in touch with what's going on. But all in all, I feel like, I feel like I'm just trying to learn how to do it still. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all one long learning process. Hopefully by the time I die, I will have figured it out. You know what I mean? Until then, I'm just like you, just like anybody else, just trying to figure it out. Sometimes you might take it personal when somebody says something. Most of the time you don't, though, because most of the time you're like, hey, man, that's just one person's opinion, 50 people's opinions, the whole world's opinion. Doesn't matter. The only opinion that matters is mine.
Right. Now, before we let you go, I'm curious, 3 items that you would that you need to have with you on tour. Like, when you get ready and you start packing your bag and you're getting ready to hit the road. I mean, this tour is going from September to December. What are 3 things that you always make sure that you bring on tour?
Oh, man. I usually bring a little wallet full of photos of my kids, my wife, my family. I also bring extra phone charger and an extra laptop charger, so that I can keep one plugged in on the bus, and then also keep one plugged in, or one in my backpack, so I can, you know, plug one in anywhere, because I can't stand the idea of not being able to have something to write with. You know what I'm saying? And now that, you know, I've joined the future, I write on smart devices. You know what I mean? And I guess lastly, snacks, dude. I be packing snacks, dude. I'm addicted to sugar, fam. Chips, whatever, man. Anything that's snacky. I got snacks, dude.
Are you still smoking?
No, man. I quit smoking cigarettes. Let me clarify. I quit smoking cigarettes in 2011.
How? That's the problem that I'm having right now, is trying to quit smoking. I started smoking when I was 18. I'm 27 now. It's so difficult. Like, you quit for a couple months, and then you go out and you drink with your friends, and then one turns into a pack. How did you do it?
Well, I don't smoke that one.
It's just none, ever.
None ever. When I started having my second round of kids, I quit. Because then I was like, well, now I got to at least make it until they're 18. You know, I started smoking when I was 17. I quit when I was 37. I realized at that point I smoked more of my life than I hadn't smoked.
Damn.
You know, I hadn't smoked from age 0 to 17. Then I started, and then I smoked for 20 years. So I had more years smoking than I had years prior that were non-smoking. And that was like, you know, a wake-up call to me. And then having more kids, I was just, I got to make it to 60. That's how I saw it.
Do you notice? Do you notice a big difference when you're like on stage now? I mean, obviously you're not huffing and puffing and everything. I mean, you notice a big difference, right?
I have far better breath control, far better stamina, far better endurance, and I smell better.
That's what I need. See, that's the problem, is that me and my girlfriend both smoke, so we both need to quit at the same time. You need to have like a quit buddy.
Well, you can quit first, and then she'll quit after you.
That is true. That is true.
I saw that happen. You know, after I quit, Ant quit. After I quit, my wife quit. You know, like when people see somebody who was like, I was a professional smoker. You know what I mean? When people see you quit, they go, well, shit, if he could do it, I could do it. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear.
Oh no, you're good. It's all pre-recorded. We're good.
That's what's up.
Yeah, we're good. Hey, one last question. What is a song that you refuse to play at shows anymore? Obviously, you know, some of your older stuff you're not too fond of, but what is a song now that you keep getting people to say, yo, you need to play that, and you're just not feeling it anymore?
You know, I don't know if there is anything that I just absolutely won't play except for the song Primer.
Okay.
There's a song called Primer. Some people call it Trailer Park Chicken because it was untitled. It was on Overcast.
Yeah.
And it was just such an angry song, and when I saw the way the audience was reacting to it and they were using it to, like, I guess, you know, to propel their anger and their aggression as opposed to what the song was really supposed to be about, I was kind of disgusted by it. But truthfully, I'll probably bust it out for fun somewhere just to surprise people. You know what I mean? Like there really is no songs that I just absolutely won't play. But when we build sets, we try to build them, you know, not just to make sure that the people who bought the tickets are happy with the show, but also to make sure that there's some sort of galvanized movement in the music to get across a certain vibe or a certain feeling. You know, we create our sets the same way we make albums, where it's like we want a certain flow to happen, and the ebb and flow and ups and downs, and so we put it together, but we look for the right songs to fit in to fill those moments and to create that experience.
That's what I was going to say, too. When you listen to Pure Evil going into Perfect, me and my girl were driving, and we're listening to it, and the way that it transfers over into the next song, I was like, that's got to be on purpose, and that was, right? Like when you, when Pure Evil ends and then Perfect, that doom, 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 like the beat kicks right in. You guys did that on purpose, correct? So I could sleep better at night?
Definitely.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Awesome. Well, hey, Slug, it's been an honor to talk to you. I know that you downplay that. You're like, oh, we're not legends, and I didn't build an empire. But to me, you did, and to hundreds of thousands of people all across the world, you've helped them out, man. And I greatly appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, man.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me talk to you. That means a lot. Have a great afternoon. Shout out to Flint. Shout out to Michigan Massive. I still intend to find a town there called Hell. I'm going to come visit and take a picture next to the sign. Take care, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.